So I built this interesting system for helping people that have products to find conversations on Reddit that they can go and find the first leads. All right, so I'm calling it lead finder. This front end is deployed on Vercel. The backend is deployed on Railway, and then that backend server connects to n8n and communicates with it and passes everything on this front end. Now, let me show you what it does, and then we'll go step by step on taking a look at the workflow. And I also have a Medium article that if those that prefer to read more than to watch, they can just read the Medium article and follow through everything that we are going to be looking at today. Yeah, so let me just put URL here, and then we'll test it. So I'm putting just one of my side projects that I created. It's going to prompt me to create an account. Let me do that. Then it's going to create the account. Yeah, so we can see that we're receiving the responses and we have found the conversations and everything is working. Yeah. When we click on view all, we can see this and we can filter by keyword. So the user, let me just quickly go through each node and what happens so that when I start talking about now how to integrate the other resources, which is I have an open source repository for that has the front end and the server that is connected to this workflow. Now you'll be able to, when we get to that point, you'll know exactly what is happening. All right. So you can see that we have two workflows. We have this one with the green background, and we have this one. So let's start with the small one. They do the same thing, but now this one is for personal use. Find leads for only your product. You can just use this one and maybe like put a schedule trigger, and maybe make it run maybe like once a day. So the workflow will be you enter your URL and then we have an AI agent that finds keywords for that service, because after we get the HTML of that page and find out what it's about and what's your ICP, your ideal customer profile, we come up with 10 keywords. Right now it's 10 keywords, and as I said, this is just the foundation. You can increase the keywords, you can reduce them, you can modify the system message. Everything is here for you, so you can check the system message and make it work the way you want. So this comes up with 10 keywords, and then we split them out, process each keyword, and use this Reddit node to search for posts on that keyword. And you can also modify this to change the limit and change the sorting. So you can sort by maybe the one that has most comments or less, or the ones that's new or relevant. Yeah, things like that. So this is the customizability that is possible with this workflow. And then after that, now we are not going to send over all the comments, of course, yeah, all the posts, sorry, all the posts from Reddit. We're not going to send all of them. We are going to use an AI agent that's going to score by relevance. Let me try to be very clear on this. So when we loop it, we split it, right? We split the 10 keywords into 10 items, right? And then we loop it. So we want to loop one keyword to find 10 posts. Yeah. So we're going to pass the 10 posts to the AI agent, and then the AI agent is going to score based on the website details that we got and the conversation that we are passing from Reddit. Is it relevant? Is it really relevant for you to go and check that conversation out? If not, then it's so this is basically what it responds with each conversation. Is it relevant or irrelevant? If relevant, then it's going to be aggregated in the final data. Yeah. So each keyword gets 10 conversations. Each conversation gets processed. So probably here you will see 100 conversations passing through this AI agent. And then finally, everything is aggregated, and the ones that have passed get in the final data objects. And then, so this is now what I said for just single use, because you can now later connect with where you want to send the save, either maybe if you want to get a notification via email of the conversation or Telegram bot or WhatsApp, you will decide where you want to send that data. Yeah, and then now for this other one, it's doing the same thing exactly, but now the only difference is it's connected to a front end, and this can help you maybe like try on creating SaaS products, things like that, yeah, and how you can manage UI UX, because I'll try to touch on some principles that are important on UI UX, yeah, things like that. So for this one, we're using a webhook to receive the URL from that front end that I'll show you just in a few minutes. We receive the URL, and then we have this set environment variables node, which we set the API key that is used to send data to our server. So this is for outgoing requests, not incoming requests. Incoming requests are going to be handled by the authentication that is set in this webhook node. So because we have a header auth, and we are going to look at this one when we are setting the server. So this header authentication is going to sort our security for incoming requests to this webhook, and then this API key is going to handle our outgoing to make sure that when we are sending data to our server, the server can authenticate that request and process it. All right, and then we also have the backend API URL. So this one, after we deploy our backend on Railway, we'll come and set it up. So just note this down, and then we'll come back to it when we deploy the front end and the server, right? And then it follows the same flow, but because we're using the front end, I really tried to make to make it have very good user experience, which normally it's called UX, right? So user experience, when the user submits the URL, we don't want them to wait for like 1 minute and 30 seconds, which normally that will take because the process is a bit long because we're processing 100 conversations, right? So we don't want the user to submit a URL and then we just have a loading state, processing. So I try to like employ a little bit of UX. So when we send the URL, the first thing that's going to happen is we are going to scrape the site, yeah, to get the information. Now, once we get the information back, we analyze the URL scape and format uh, just the parts that we want to send back, like the title, the description of that site, the something that's called the OG image, like when you visit or share URL via WhatsApp or Twitter or Telegram, any social media, you will see that it comes with an image and then a title. Yeah, so that image is also sent back, and then we also send the favicon, which is the site icon. Yeah, so we send that data in this first node, which is going to send the first batch from our n8n workflow to the front end, and we are sending this to our server. Yeah, that's why I said in the set variable node we are setting the URL because that's what we are going to be set to be using in the post URL. And then the API key, you can see we are using it here. So the first batch of data we are sending is the website analysis, and then it will populate in the UI. So we have the server that's processing that data that is receiving from this webhook, and then uh, passing it in the UI. Then the next batch of data that we are sending is, after that we get the keywords, yeah? So we have this AI agent that gets the keywords. And again, we are going to send that data. So this process will take like maybe 10 seconds for the first one, 10, so that the user on the front end gets, we feed them progress to make them satisfied and more comfortable, yeah, and happy. So just good UX. And then the third batch of data, we are going to send results for the first keyword again, because we don't want them to wait for all the 10 keywords. We are just trying to make them not get bored on the front end and see something is happening. Yeah. So we're going to send the first batch. So we are processing just the first keyword, and then we process also the second one, and this will be the fourth batch of data that we're sending from here to our server. And then now finally, the user is going to become now more patient with us. Yeah, now we can take like maybe the last minute to process the remaining 8 keywords. Yeah, So we process the 8 keywords in at once. So we loop them, we split them out, and then we loop them, and then now we process all of them, check the relevance for each of the 8 conversations, 8 because one keyword has 10 conversations. And again, as I said, you will be able to change those filters here. So if you want to get 100 conversations, then that's it. You can be able to change that here, and everything will be okay. And then finally, we send that final batch, and then it's populated in the front end, and the process ends. When we receive any information from our front end or our server, it comes with a search ID. So that's what we are using to help the server pass any information it's receiving in that API endpoint to see where to put it. All right. So let's get started. This is the repository that I've put the project in, and it's open source and it's free for use, and it has an MIT license. So you can just use it wherever you like. You can use it as a base for creating anything you want, right? Once you get to this repository, just head over to the fork. Uh, the link of this repo is in the description. So get over to fork. Right now I am not able to fork because this is my own project, yeah. So but for your case, you'll be able to fork. And if you don't have a GitHub account, just create one. It's free. So after you fork it, you'll now own that repository, and you'll get an option to rename it to the name that you want, yeah. And that name is important because when you go to Railway, you'll see the repository is listed there. So after you do that, use the link in the description to create a Railway account. Yeah, it's an affiliate link. I'll appreciate. When you head over to Railway, you'll see something like this. So you'll just click on new. Yeah, click on new, and then you'll see the first option is the GitHub repository. So you'll just click on it, and then click on the name that you selected. All right. So I'm going to just click. Then after that, after you click, it's going to start deploying. Don't worry about it. It's going to deploy successfully, but it's not going to work because we have not set the variables. Yeah. So we need to set variables. In fact, let me just take this opportunity to explain why I am using a server in Railway and a frontend in Vercel. When you take a look at the project, you'll see that we have two folders. We have the project folder and the server folder. Yeah, and then in the same parent folder, we have down here, we have the railway.json file, right? So the project, this is where the front end is going to live, and the server is where the API server lives. Now, I could have also just used one, but when we are using the environment variables, there are some that are secret and some are not secret, can be exposed on the public, and there is no harm um, that would come from that. But there's some secret ones like the API key. So if we expose the webhook URL, it's not an issue, but because we have secured it, we can't expose the API key on the front end. Yeah, so that's why I'm using the server on Railway, and that's what we're going to set here. So don't worry, I'm going to show you where you can get these variables very quickly. Now, when you click on server, you will see this file, env.example. Right now, this these are the environment variables that are required for everything to run in this server folder when you deploy it. So we are going to copy the first one, which is the database URL, and then we're going to come here and or you can just copy everything. You can just copy this, and then when you come here, you will have this raw editor. Yeah, and when you paste, you just see them like that, and when you click update, they're going to be populated, just the variables, because they have the equal sign, and that is what is used to just select which are the variables. You can remove the port. This is not necessary. This is just when you're running it locally. So when you download this repository on your PowerShell or Casa, uh, any anything like that, you'll just need to put the port so that uh, we use that to have the local host. All right. So when you have this, now the database, you can just see its file dev.db, we are using Prisma because we have a small SQLite database, a temporary one, so that anytime you redeploy it, it's cleaned. But that's just because this is just an open source project, and we have the Prisma migration file in the server. You can just check it out if you want to switch the database to something like Postgres or any other thing. Just look at the migration file and you're able to expand it to your preferred database. But it's going to work right now. It's going to work. Okay. And then we have the beta auth secret. We are using beta auth for authentication. Yeah, we're using beta auth for the authentication. So we are going to replace this with just a random string. So we are going to open a new tab and just visit this URL. I've pasted it on the description. So it's just my own project for getting API keys, secrets, etc. So we're going to leave it on secret key, hexadecimal. Maybe increase the length a little bit, keep it at 48, and then we generate this secret key, copy it, go to our beta auth secret area, click on edit, then we're going to replace this and click on a tick. And then front-end origin, we can just leave it to this for now because we need to get this front-end origin from when we deploy our front-end, which is the project folder. Okay, and then for n8n webhook Reddit, this is the URL for the webhook node, the trigger node on our workflow, and you can just head over to this workflow. Yeah, I'll put the link. I'm sure you already have this workflow open like this because the link is in the description, and the video, when it begins, it tells you the prerequisites to follow along. Yeah, so I hope you've already gotten to this point. Now when you click on the webhook, make sure that you click on the production, because the test one, if you're not familiar with the webhook trigger, when you click on the test URL, you have to listen every time you want to make a request to it. But when you put it on production, once we publish it, we can make the request and monitor the execution from the execution log. So production URL, copy it, and then we are going to head over to the repo, the railway deployment settings, webhook secrets. Just click on this, and then we're going to paste this webhook Reddit. So this is the URL, and then we have the webhook secret. Now this is the one that I said we are going to set in the header authentication. Yeah, so that no, not in the header authentication. Very sorry. In the set environment variables, so that any request we make from n8n has this, and this is going to be confirmed here. So I'm going to show you how to get also this one. Head over to the same one. Maybe you can switch to API key here, and then even the UUID. Click on this, get this API key, just copy it, come to where is it? Railway. Yeah. Then let's go to secret, and that's it. And then we're going to click deploy. Yeah, so we're going to click deploy, and then I'm sure that the webhook secret is still it's still copied on your something. I forgotten the name, but it's still copied, and we're going to head over to n8n, and here where we have the n8n, this is the second node, the set environment variables node. So where we have n8n webhook API key, we're going to put what we have set on our server, right? And then we are going to wait for it to finish deployment so that we can copy the API URL and come and paste it here. So let's wait that, finish this, and then we can go and update our webhook trigger node. So let's check very quickly. So it's still building. It crashed the first time because there were no variables, but right now it's going to succeed and it's going to go online. You'll see online. So just a few seconds. So it's now online, and we are going to get the backend API URL in this way. We're going to click on settings, and then just scroll to where we have networking, the networking section, and then we're going to click on generate domain. It will ask you to enter the port that your app is listening on. I just put 8080 and then 8080, and then click generate. domain, and then we'll have our domain here, and we can just confirm if our server is online. Just copy the URL, open a new tab, paste that URL. You can see it will put the cannot get, but just to be sure, you can put a slash and write health, and this way you'll see that it says status. Okay, all right, so it is online. So now we are going to copy the URL, copy it, come to n8n. Now in the backend API URL, just paste that. And then because when you copy the URL from Railway, it does not come with the HTTPS before it, and that's very important when you are making the HTTP requests. When you use this URL like this, it's not going to work. So I'm going to add HTTPS colon double slash. That's it. Add nothing in front, add nothing else. That's it. We're going to exit that, and then we are going to, let's just quickly copy this. Just copy the API key so that you can also set it up on the webhook trigger node. Let me quickly explain why we are doing this here. So I said we have the authentication on the webhook trigger node for incoming requests. Yeah. So when we are sending data from our server to n8n, we are going to require that that data has an authorization header for us to process it. This is just to prevent any other person to use. That is called an authorized use of the webhook. Yeah. So we are going to secure this webhook URL with the header authentication. And when you create a new node in another instance, right now I know when you copy it, it's going to set the settings as they are here, but when you create a new webhook another time, the authentication normally it's going to be none. Yeah, and this means that anybody who has this URL can make a post request to it. So we are going to change it. So you will change it to header, and then you'll have this option to select header auth, or if you already have it set or not. So in that case, you're going to click create new credential, and then the name of that authorization is called x dash API dash key. And then on the value, we're just going to paste now the API key that we generated here on this site, yeah, this key, because this is the same one that the server is going to use when sending data, right? So it's using the same one. You can change them, but in this specific project, we're using the same one. So this is it, and then you'll click save. I already have it saved. I'm sure it's using an outdated one, so I'm just going to update mine and use the new one. That's it. And then another setting that's very important is how to respond. So if you are not responding back to the webhook, like you're not, if the server sends information, how do you want it to behave? Do you want it to wait for a response? Then if that is the case, you're going to say using respond to webhook node, and then the server is going to wait. But in our case, we are not waiting. We are sending back the data to it using the server API. All right. So for us, we just leave it as respond immediately. Okay. And that is it for setting up the API keys and the backend URL in webhook that is from Railway. All right. And then now the next step is, as I said before, in this the variables for the server, we have the front-end origin. Yeah, so we want our server to also check which front-end is sending the URL for it to process and send to n8n, because when somebody puts the URL in our front-end, we are not sending that data from the front-end to n8n. We are using our server to send the data to n8n. So we also need to make sure that the origin of that request is what we are allowing. Yeah, that's why I said we can just leave it to this because we don't have the origin yet until we deploy on Vercel. So we are going to head over to Vercel, and then create an account. You'll get to somewhere where you are able to click on add new, and you'll also select the project and select your project. Yeah, you know the name that you have named it. If you have left it as lead gen, then that is the one that you select. Now this is a bit different because as I said earlier, on the On the parent folder, we have the railway.json, which when you open it, it has instructions for Railway on how to deploy and build and deploy the server. Yeah, it tells it which folder to use and which command to run to build and the start command, etc. But now for the front end, it's simple, so you don't need to add a Vercel with JSON file, which also can guide Vercel on how to build and deploy. So for us, the only thing that we're going to make sure here is that on the root directory, this is very important. On the root directory, we're going to click on edit and select the one that has our front end, which is this folder. Yeah, so it's the project folder which has our front end. And then on environment variables, we are going to make sure that we have the Vite API URL, and we are going to click on here and also copy again, just the same URL that we used. Just navigating on Railway, quick tip: when you are not clicking on this service in the project, you'll not, and then you go to settings, you'll see something different because this is not the settings for that service. So when you want to see the settings that we were seeing previously, make sure that you've clicked on this service, and then now you will see these settings. And when you click on settings, you can scroll down to networking and see your public networking URL, which is now the backend API base URL. Now come here and paste it again, just like we did on n8n. Make sure that you're adding the https colon /, and then that's it. We are going to click on deploy. Now we are going to wait for it to deploy so that we can get the front end URL, and then we'll paste it on Railway, and we'll have a prompt to redeploy, and then after that, that will be it, and we can start testing. All right. Just completed deploying, and you can see that when we click continue to dashboard, we'll be able to see the domain. Yeah, just here on the domains, we have this URL, and we can just right click on it, copy link address, head over to our server deployment, head over to variables. You see where we have Frontend Integration, just click on these dots, click on edit, and then we update this. This time this will come with the HTTPS, so you don't need to add it. Then just click on tick. You'll see this pop up here because we want to apply that change to the deployment. Yeah, when you change any variable, you have to deploy. So you just click on this. It's going to deploy. So as it deploys, we are going to open this front end so that we can just take a look at it, and looks nice. So yeah, this is the front end. Let me confirm if it has completed. Yeah, it's still deploying. You'll see the active one, because when you're deploying an update, the previous one is still online until the new one is valid and it's healthy. Yeah, so if this fails, you will still have the previous one, which does not have the variable that you have added. So if this finishes and it's on active, it's going to replace the previous deployment. So just a few seconds and it's going to complete. Then we can start testing. Good, 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 good. It's done. Now we can head over to our front end. Just give it a refresh. This is the front end that we have, and we are going to find just a URL to make a quick test. I'm going to check on Trust MRR is a site where SaaS products are listed. I'm just going to find one that we can use, maybe like vid. Let's check vid AI. Open new tab, copy the URL. That's vid AI, vid.ai. Let's go to where's our front end? Here it is. Then we're going to paste it here. Once we click on this, we're going to get a prompt to register. Let me just do that very quickly. Solution.com, and then just going to suggest a strong password and create an account. This is going to create an account on our database, and then it's going to redirect us to the request that's going to start being sent on our backend. And we can see that, so this is very good UI. As I said, we have already gotten the first responses very, very quickly. So like I can see something's already happening on the backend, and then we've already received for the first keyword, and then we're going to receive for the second one like that. Yeah. And when you click on, for example, because the website is about create faceless videos, and these are conversations where you can head over there and try to maybe like comment so that you can get some interest from these people that are talking about the same thing, and some are even asking for a solution like that in the comments. Yeah, let me get you back here so I'll quickly just show you around. We have the history, so this is going to show here, and then we have all the leads that are found, so you can view all searches. You can see them here when you click. You can see them here when you click on view all. Sorry, you can see all the conversations here. You can filter by keywords, the keywords that were found. Yeah, so thank you for joining in. I hope you had an insightful learning session, and I'm going to try my best to work on releasing the other projects that I had created specifically for the YouTube channel in the coming days. Yeah. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also let me hear your thoughts if maybe there's something that I didn't explain well, or if there's something that you think we would implement better in other workflows. Yeah, always open to new ideas. Yeah. Bye bye.